Okay, as I said, we're looking at this Pagan Day of Easter because it's coming up, and it generally falls in Shabbat. It generally falls right after the Passover, the first day of the week after the Passover. So we have a lot to look at and examine, because a lot of us, we follow these pagan holidays, these days that has nothing to do with what we should be following. We should be following Passover as Hebrew Israelites. We honor the Most High, Mashiach Kadoshai, with the Passover. We was able to have our exit out of Egypt, and all of that being symbolic for our power of Mashiach Kadoshai, as we all are Mashiachim, those that are in the spirit. To understand, we are Mashiach, and Mashiach is the Most High, as it tells us in 1 Corinthians 3:23. So when you understand what has happened, what has been happening for ages, not just because you were born on the earth, but these things, these pagan holidays were happening and were set up long before we were even thought of. They were following these pagan days, and most people have just followed the traditions of their parents or whoever it is that they were raised by or were around. They said, let's do the same thing. Creatures of habit. But also set up long ago, back in the Babylonian Empire, all the way back to Nimrod. We go all the way back to Genesis, actually, to see how this paganism began. And a lot of things that they're dealing with Nimrod and Semiramis and Tammuz and Salakia, Most High, Shemashah, even calling these entities that they have made as gods. Our people don't realize it. They're just creatures of habit, following traditions, point blank. Now, Easter is a day that is honored by nearly all contemporary Christians. And it's used to celebrate the resurrection of Mashiach Kadoshai. But how could that be when they say, this day he died and he rose on the third day? And you can't count from the sixth day to the first day and get 3 days. You're only going to get 2 days. But yet still they say he died on this day and he rose on the first day. To get some clarity here, that's only 2 days. This holiday often involves a church service at sunrise, a feast which includes an Easter ham, decorated eggs, and stories about rabbits. Those who love the truth learn to ask questions. Learn to ask questions. Like they taught us so many things that we just took for granted that was the truth, and it was a lie. Even what I just said a couple of times concerning he died today, the sixth day, and rose on the first day. You got the seventh day, which is tomorrow, then you got the first day, which is the next day, then you got the second day. of the week. But they celebrated his resurrection on the first day. Is that when he rose from the dead? I mean, simple things of this nature that we haven't even thought about that we have to consider. You have to consider. So where do these strange customs come from? Which have nothing to do with the resurrection of Mashiach Yahushua. Nothing to do with him. I have a picture on my phone. Before this is over, we'll try and post it so it can be seen. So you can see what this is all about. It's all about fertility god, Semiramis, known by many names, many different names. And we're going to go into the Thaahwam Bible Dictionary and look at what you celebrate when you celebrate this Pagan Day of Easter. Just getting it ready, so you'll know. Giving all praise and glory to the Most High. He gets all the glory. Okay. let me zoom in on it right quick so you can see it. See that right there? With all those breasts, those are breasts on that body. Okay? So now that you have an idea, somewhat of an idea, what this is dealing with, we got to go into it to show you. Give you more clarity on it. Istar, which is pronounced Easter, or Easter as they say, was a day to commemorate the resurrection of one of their idols, Babylonian idols, that they call Tammuz, which was Nimrod, who was Semiramis' son, Babylonians, Ethiopians, had a baby by his mother, and this baby was named Tammuz. And he was supposedly the begotten son of the moon goddess and the sun god. Semiramis is known as the moon goddess, and Nimrod's name known as the sun god. That's why a lot of times you'll see some of these religions, some have this crescent moon with the star. Or you'll see that sun. You know, I have another picture, surreal picture, it's an ancient picture, showing Semiramis with, let's see if I can pull it up. Okay, I'm gonna let you look at this also. As you see here, you can see Semiramis sitting there with pants on. Women didn't wear pants. You see the rabbit in her hand, the bunny rabbit. This is an ancient picture. the rabbit in her hand, and you see Nimrod, the son, behind her. Her son, they had a son by the name of Tammuz, and it's in the Bible. Wickedness. See, Nimrod married his own mother. He became a powerful king. And we're going to read about it once we go to Colossians 3:17. Colossians 3:17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. So all that we say and do is going to be in the name of the anointed Savior, our power, Mashiach Yahushua. Giving all praise and glory to the Most High. And we thank the Most High for this glorious day and every day that we're able to breathe and have our right mind to be able to think and to bring forth the knowledge and understanding to our brothers and sisters trying to make it to the kingdom. Give them all praise and glory. Yes. Because he's worthy to be praised. So let's look at Genesis, the 10th chapter, and we're going to start at verse 8. Well, we'll start at verse 6, and you can see it says, and the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. Now we're going to go to verse 8. And Cush begot Nimrod. Cush, these are the Hamites, or the so-called Africans. Cush begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Most High. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Most High. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, or Babel, which we say in Hebrew, Babel, which means confusion, and Erech, and Achab, and Shaddai, in the land of Shinar, or Babylon. Nimrod became a god as a man. To the people in Semiramis, his mother, his wife and mother, became the powerful queen of ancient Babylon. And eventually she called herself the Queen of Heaven. Nimrod was eventually killed by an enemy. It has been said he was killed by Shem. And his body was cut in pieces and sent to various parts of his kingdom. Semiramis had all the parts gathered except for one part that could not be found. The missing part was his reproductive organ, his throat. And Semiramis claimed that Nimrod could not come back to life without it, and told the people of Babylon that Nimrod had ascended to the sun and was now to be called Ba, the sun god. Nimrod, who was just a man when he walked the earth. And that's what you're looking at. A lot of these different idols, people be talking about this sign, this, whatever. Usually these things come from a man. They come from a man that existed, that they made a god. They made a god. Remember, all the gods of the nations are what? Idols. So generally when you're looking at different different things, and people talk about the Illuminati, but they go into the Bible and they create things from the Bible, opposite of what it says, or enhance what it is that's being said here in wickedness. So Semiramis became a queen who proclaimed that Baal would be present on earth in the form of a flame, whether candle or lamp were used in worship. Well, people be burning candles in worship all the time. These are traditions that we're looking at that came way back. We went back, way back to Genesis. You see, way back in Genesis, these things were created. See, what Semiramis was doing was creating a mystery religion. And with the help of Satan, because it was on the left-hand side, she set herself up as a goddess. And everybody was bowing down to her. She claimed that she was immaculate conceived. She taught that the moon was a goddess that went through a 28-day cycle and ovulated when full. All these things are pagan. It's sad because our people are following these traditions that go way back during the time that I just read to you in Genesis. Once Nimrod died, then his mother/wife became the queen, and she set herself up for the people to follow. She claimed that she came down from the moon in a giant moon egg that fell into the Euphrates River. These are the things you're looking at. I just showed you the picture. You see, she sat there with the rabbit. She became the fertility god. But really, in essence, what you're looking at is she comes about around the time of the full moon after the spring equinox. And that's like around March the 21st, something like that, somewhere around there. But mind you can bet on this that Easter always follows the Passover, the next first day. See, Semiramis became known as Ishtar, which is pronounced Easter. And her moon egg became known as Ishtar's egg. Mind you, she came from Immaculate Conception. The son she brought forth was named Tammuz. And see, Tammuz was noted to be especially fond of rabbits, and they became sacred in the ancient religion because Tammuz was believed to be the son of the sun god, Baal. Tammuz, like his supposed father, became a hunter, trying to be a hunter like Nimrod. Mind you, Nimrod is dead. And the day came that Tammuz was killed by a wild boar, or a wild pig, a wild hog. Thus you have the Easter ham, every Easter, honey glazed ham. People lined up to get their honey glazed ham. All this is paganism. Just like you look at Lent. Lent is how many days? 40 days. Fasting and crying and weeping. Weeping for who? Weeping for Tammuz. For every day that he lived. One day for every